So in this video, I'm going to talk about Holmdel football's late off-season strength conditioning program. This is the exercise program that athletes that are not playing a spring sport will partake in if they're in the weight room training with me. So I have a video already up about the early off-season over the winter time. Feel free to check that out, but this video is going to cover the late off-season or the springtime. So how I start this off is at the end of the winter, we're going to test their 1 rep hand clean, back squat, bench press. We'll do a chin up test and a broad jump test. I'm also going to take their body weight. This is a basic assessment to see where they're at and to see the progress that they made over the winter time, as well as the progress that they're going to make from the winter going through the spring. What I have here is essentially 3 blocks, block 1, 2, and 3. Each block is approximately a month in duration, give or take a week, depending on when spring break falls, as well as some other things. So usually this is about March, April, May. Each block has a little bit different emphasis to it. So block 1 is a hypertrophy block. The goal is to put more muscle mass on your frame. And then blocks 2 and 3 are strength blocks. The goal is to then, once you have more muscle mass, is develop that strength and the ability to move heavy objects from point A to point B. I also have a higher prevalence of power and explosiveness in this phase of training because we're getting a little bit closer to the season, so it's a little bit higher prevalence at this point. So the previous program they were following in the winter was 2 hypertrophy blocks and 1 strength block. For this one, it's 1 hypertrophy block and 2 strength blocks, and this last strength block had a lot more power emphasis to it. So the duration for block 1, it's 5 weeks, so it's 4 weeks of hard training followed by a 1-week deload. And then for these 2, it's 4 weeks of training, 3 weeks of hard training followed by a 1-week deload. That deload is a week worth of lower volume and intensity training to decay fatigue to let them get fresh and ready to go for the subsequent block that they're going to perform. This prevents overuse injuries and prevents them from overtraining. As far as the frequency, they're going to train 4 days a week throughout the entire program. They're going to follow an upper-lower body split, and they're going to follow a high-low model. So on their lower body days, they're going to train their legs, and they're going to sprint, and they're going to jump. Much more strenuous, and then on their upper body days, they're not going to do any running at all. So they'll maybe do legs, sprints, jumps, followed by an upper body day, no running, followed by a complete day off, and then they're going to repeat it again, and then they'll get the weekend. So you consolidate stress onto about 2 days of training out of the entire course of the week so that you're not beating the crap out of them over the course of the entire week. This prevents overuse injuries, stress fractures that are very common among athletes at this age if you push them really hard. So we have stuff like the high-low model as well as deloads to prevent that from happening. As far as the volume and load and reps, it's a higher volume program, so higher repetitions, less weight on the bar, more sets and reps as we start out. As we get towards the end, the amount of volume is reduced, the weight on the bar is increased substantially, the reps come down. So it goes from 6 to 8 for our benches and our squats to 4 to 6 to 3 to 5 throughout the course of the program. As far as our plyometrics, we're doing skips and hops, going over basic mechanics, some vertical jumps, some horizontal jumps. I'll progress them to doing some type of continuous or repeated component, maybe incorporate some single leg stuff or some lateral movement, and then the last block is a lot of multi-directional and reactive type jumping. As far as speed work, true speed work is a maximal sprint over a short distance, okay, up to about 10 seconds or so is really what you're thinking about, like speed work, or that's really kind of a loaded explanation there. It goes a little more deep to that. But for instance, what I do is in the early off season, what we have is we're confined to indoors, so we do a lot of short sprints, and when I'm in the springtime, we're able to go outside, and I'm able to stretch them out and do a little bit longer duration, so we do more of a short to long sprint training model. We'll have them do build-ups, flying 20s, and then flying 30s with a deceleration. I have them do, for acceleration, some mechanics, working on skips, different start positions, have them play tag, have them do short hill sprints. It's maximal intent. They're competing on every drill. They're running as fast as they can. They're shorter duration, but much longer rest periods. And again, maximal intent, so they're competing on every rep. Because you want to get fast, you got to train fast. As far as agility, I start out with some remedial change of direction exercises like a 5-10-5 or an L drill. They're predetermined cone drills, so all they got to do is really change direction. I'll add in some type of reactive component like a visual or an audible component like me yelling out a number or the color of a cone for them to react to. And then the last block, same thing, but it's in with a partner or in a team setting they're reacting because that's more applicable to actual sports. Not predetermined running around cones, but actually reacting in a live game scenario. As far as conditioning, move more from aerobic to anaerobic style conditioning. So I'll have them do some intervals, some bleachers, oxidative energy system to having them do maybe 200-yard shuttles and some agility drills in a conditioning fashion, working more lactic power, lactic capacity, and then bring them down to like a 60-yard shuttle. And their agility, same thing, maybe 6 seconds in duration, repeated every 30 seconds, more alactic capacity style stuff. Moving from general to specific. It sets the foundation, right, for the subsequent phase of training, right, higher repetitions, longer duration conditioning, for the success within this block of training, but also in the long-term plan of developing strength and power and explosiveness when we get to the season, which is not that far away now. This is usually a great time period for them. The weather's nice, attendance is usually pretty good. Again, I go into a lot of details here. I have a higher prevalence of plyometrics, of Olympic lifts, speed and agility stuff, because it's facility dependent. And again, we're getting a little more specific to the actual season, a little bit more closer to the season, so the stuff is a little more specific to that sport. I talk about the sets and reps. As far as actual Olympic lifts, it is a little bit different. We're not doing high rep cleans or high rep push presses or anything like that. They're trained in the 3 to 5 rep range. They're trained fast. I include a nutrition presentation. We track their body weights, track their attendance, hold them accountable, and then we test them at the end of the spring to see where they're at. And then we have about another 8 to 10 weeks for the preseason, the early summertime before camp starts, and I'll put out a video on that. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned something or this is some type of use to you. Appreciate it.